Why is my balance and coordination easier to manage when I'm at home versus when I go out? It feels like we're crazy, or maybe we're just emotional and overreacting to being in a different environment. Well, if you have a brain injury or cranial-cervical atlantal axle instability or a vestibular injury, there can be some other really good reasons that we're struggling more when we're out than when we're in our own home. The first thing is our brains are constantly getting information that movement is happening. So that can mean that we might see movement, feel like movement is happening visually, like that vertigo experience, or we might notice that when there's things sensory-wise happening around us, that we're kind of responding like movement, but we don't understand why this is happening. So when I'm in my home environment, it's easier for me for a few reasons. Some of that is the fact that I'm very familiar. I know as I walk around which walls I'm constantly touching. I'm touching the walls because it helps my brain know where I am in space. If I'm touching that wall and that wall is not moving, then although my head is getting the sensation of constant movement, it gives me that just that little extra piece where I'm able to build a neural pathway that overrides saying, brain, we might feel this movement, but hand tells us this is not happening and this is safe, and that gives me a little more stability through my body. The other thing about a home environment too is that it's all mapped out. Our brains are so good at memorizing what is where and how and why. And so if you're getting that visual vestibular mismatch or those types of symptoms that can be related, when you know the environment, your brain might still sense movement, but it's gone through it so many times, it's not surprising, it's not novel anymore. So we don't respond in the same way, and that's a point of ease, which is great to have those opportunities. When we're in an environment where we go out, for example, there's a lot of things happening around us that our brains haven't memorized. There's maybe less touch points, things we can hold on to. We also don't necessarily know how is it going to feel when I touch it or when I reach out for it. We might start to be in motion, feeling like we're falling a bit before we're even touching that object that gives us a little bit more of an anchor point. I think the other thing too is about our home environment is often we can kind of curate how much sensory is happening around us. So we don't necessarily have, people, cars going by or people running by or a lot of like motion and whatnot. And so that's just less of a juggling task for our brains to process.